Please help us to like, comment and subscribe to the channel for more of this. Ella Simmons, 32, sat quietly at the corner table of an upscale restaurant in Chicago, trying not to smile too wide. Her brother, Thomas, was celebrating his engagement, and their parents were glowing with pride. But tonight wasn't just about Thomas. Tonight something unexpected had happened. His fiancée Claire had locked eyes with Ella across the room and whispered, "Wait, are you the founder of Medylink?" The room hadn't heard it, but Ella's heart certainly did. She nodded with a modest smile. Claire's jaw dropped. "Your app changed everything for our hospital," she said. Ella's parents turned in confusion. "Medylink?" her father asked. Ella just raised her glass. The years of being underestimated, of spending holiday dinners being compared to her golden brother, were behind her now. Growing up in the wealthy suburb of Willow Heights just outside Chicago came with high expectations. Ella's father, Dr. Richard Simmons, was a renowned heart surgeon. Her mother, Linda Simmons, was a corporate attorney known for never losing a case. Then there was Thomas, older by 4 years, top of his class, now a respected physician like their dad. Ella, on the other hand, loved computers. While the rest of the family praised awards and accolades, Ella built websites in her room. "That's cute," her mom would say. "But law school is where your future really is." At dinner, everyone took turns reporting achievements. "So what did you do today, Ella?" her mother would ask. "I learned how to code a login page," Ella said once at 15. "Maybe focus on debate team instead," her mom replied, barely hiding her disinterest. Their home was more like a courtroom than a family space. Everything was judged. Ella's sanctuary became her bedroom where she could code in peace. While Thomas displayed medals and framed awards, Ella had sticky notes with code snippets and hand-drawn app designs. She'd stay up past midnight watching YouTube tutorials on JavaScript, then barely stay awake in morning classes. No one noticed unless her grades slipped. At 16, she created a system that helped her school streamline their fundraiser. The event planner, Mrs. Henderson, was thrilled. "Your daughter is incredibly gifted," she told Linda. "She just enjoys tech stuff," Linda said. "We're focused on her pre-law track right now." Ella stood nearby, heart sinking. She hadn't agreed to any law track. Her parents had mapped out her future without asking. Everything changed in junior year. Ella entered a statewide coding competition, submitting a program she built herself to manage school inventory. She advanced to the finals, scheduled the same day as Thomas's med school acceptance party. "We're so proud of him," Linda said. "I'm sure you understand, sweetie." Ella nodded, though her chest ached. She competed alone, the only finalist without family in the crowd. And she won. First place. Judges praised her creativity and foresight. She went home holding her trophy, only to find a house full of guests cheering for Thomas. "That's nice, honey," her dad said with a quick glance. That night, Ella made a decision. She would succeed, not for applause but to build something they couldn't ignore. Something undeniable. Senior year brought college applications and pressure. "Apply to Yale," her mom insisted. "Strong pre-law program." Ella instead applied to Illinois Tech, known for its computer science department. When she got in with a scholarship, her parents reacted like she'd thrown her future away. "You're wasting your potential," Richard said. "You could go Ivy League." Linda added. Thomas chimed in, trying to help. "Maybe she just needs to try it out and get it out of her system." Ella packed for college with quiet determination. He was done trying to impress them. For the first time she felt light, unburdened. She would study what she loved. And that was more than enough. College felt like freedom. At Illinois Tech, Ella wasn't the girl who disappointed her family. She was the student professors praised for her unique approach to solving problems. Her dorm room looked like a tech lab filled with wires, whiteboards, and half-assembled devices. During her second year, she met Mia Carter in a programming class. Mia was sharp, fast-talking, and had an instinct for spotting problems no one else noticed. When they partnered for a group project, they finished it in half the time and even added bonus features just for fun. One late night at the campus cafe, Mia scrolled through an article about hospital communication errors. "Doctors are brilliant," she said, "but their systems are a mess." Ella leaned in. "So let's fix it." 4 weeks, the two of them sketched ideas between classes, scribbling on napkins and whiteboards. What if there was an app that made medical information move faster, Safer? Ella pulled from her knowledge of interface design, Mia from her family's medical frustrations. Mia's mom had been misdiagnosed 3 times before getting the right care. "We need to build this," Mia said one night. By semester's end they had a prototype. A sleek, simple platform that could reduce communication errors in hospitals. They named it Medylink. They didn't have investors, employees, or even an office yet, but they had vision. That summer, while most students were home relaxing, Ella and Mia worked out of Mia's parents' garage. Her parents brought snacks and cheered them on. The contrast to Ella's own family couldn't have been more obvious. At family gatherings, Thomas was still the main attraction. "How's residency?" people asked him with admiration. When they turned to Ella, the question always stung. "Still doing that tech thing?" "Just tinkering," she'd reply, smiling through clenched teeth. Nobody asked for details. Meanwhile, she and Mia were entering startup contests and winning. They used the prize money to register their company, hire a lawyer, and file for a patent. One of their professors introduced them to Dr. Helen Yu, a hospital administrator frustrated by outdated systems. After one look at Medylink, Dr. Yu said, "I want to test this at my clinic immediately." It was their first client and a turning point. Thanksgiving break arrived, and so did the usual tension. At dinner, Richard pulled Ella aside by the dessert table. "Your mother and I are worried," he said. "Thomas can help you find something stable at the hospital. Maybe an admin." Ella inhaled slowly. "Actually, I'm working on a startup," she said. Her father chuckled softly. "A business? Come on, Ella. Get some real-world experience first." That moment hurt more than any debate or dismissal before. He didn't mean it cruelly, but the disbelief cut deep. That night, Ella promised herself something. She would never again look to her parents for approval. Her work would speak for itself. After graduation, Ella and Mia moved into a tiny apartment in the South Loop, surviving on ramen and determination. They rented 2 desks in a shared co-working space and worked 16-hour days coding, pitching, revising. Their first real investor came from a pitch competition judge who saw their grit. With the funding, they hired their first engineer, Noah, a quiet genius who believed in their mission. Contracts started rolling in. First a regional hospital, then a chain of outpatient clinics. Yet when Ella called home, she said little. "It's going fine," she'd say. Her parents assumed she was still stuck in some low-level support job. It was easier that way for now. That Christmas, Thomas announced his engagement to Claire, a pharmaceutical sales executive. The family erupted in excitement. Ella stayed quiet, sipping her cider by the window. Later, Linda pulled her aside in the kitchen. "You know, Thomas has a friend, Dr. Mark. He's single, very successful. Would you like me to arrange a coffee date?" Ella blinked. "Mom, I'm not looking to be fixed up." Linda topped off her wine glass. "I just thought, if you're still figuring things out, maybe some stability wouldn't hurt." Ella didn't reply. She thought of the pilot test they'd just completed, which had reduced patient communication errors by 40%. But what would be the point of explaining that? They wouldn't hear her. Medylink's user base was growing fast. Clinics saw smoother operations and hospital staff raved about the interface. Medical blogs began writing about it. One morning, Mia rushed into the office waving an email. "Memorial Health just reached out," she exclaimed. "They want to implement Medylink across their entire system." Ella read it 3 times before believing it. Memorial Health ran 27 hospitals. This deal could change everything. Within hours, their inbox exploded. Other networks wanted demos. Venture firms started calling. The following month, they received their first acquisition offer, $30 million. Mia looked at Ella across the meeting room. "What do you think?" Ella smiled. "We're not done building." Instead of selling, they accepted a $30 million investment from Sierra Ventures, keeping control but gaining resources. The deal valued Medylink at over $100 million. When news broke, tech blogs tried to dig up Ella's background. She asked that only her first name be used. "You sure about this?" Mia asked one night. "You could be on magazine covers." Later, Ella replied, "I want to build, not explain." She wasn't ready for her family to suddenly claim her success. She wasn't hiding. She was protecting her peace. In industry circles, she became known as the ghost founder, the visionary without a face. It only fueled curiosity. At 28, Ella bought a stylish condo with a lake view. But she kept her old car and wore simple clothes when visiting her parents. They believed she had roommates and a decent entry-level job. Still figuring things out, her uncle asked at Easter. Something like that, Ella replied. Back at the office they were preparing for international expansion. Her assistant Kayla, one of the few who knew her family situation, handled declined invitations and awkward family calls with grace. Dr. Chin, her therapist, asked her once, "What are you waiting for, Ella? What would make it safe to tell them?" Ella thought for a long moment. When it's so big they can't rewrite the story. By then Medylink was used in over 200 facilities across the country. Studies showed it cut errors by 43% and boosted patient satisfaction by 38%. Still, Ella kept to the shadows. Every family dinner ended the same way, with her parents praising Thomas and politely ignoring Ella's career. When whispers of a $200 million acquisition deal started, she knew the day of silence wouldn't last. Horizon Health Technologies, the giant in medical software, was preparing to make their move. Mia came back from a meeting with a sly smile. "They're serious. $200 million kind of serious." Ella's stomach flipped. That number couldn't be ignored, even by her family. That Christmas, Thomas announced his engagement to Claire, a pharmaceutical sales executive. The family erupted in excitement. Ella stayed quiet, sipping her cider by the window. Later, Linda pulled her aside in the kitchen. "You know, Thomas has a friend, Dr. Mark. He's single, very successful. Would you like me to arrange a coffee date?" Ella blinked. "Mom, I'm not looking to be fixed up." Linda topped off her wine glass. "I just thought, if you're still figuring things out, maybe some stability wouldn't hurt." Ella didn't reply. She thought of the pilot test they'd just completed, which had reduced patient communication errors by 40%. But what would be the point of explaining that? They wouldn't hear her. Medylink's user base was growing fast. Clinics saw smoother operations and hospital staff raved about the interface. Medical blogs began writing about it. One morning Mia rushed into the office waving an email. "Memorial Health just reached out," she exclaimed. "They want to implement Medylink across their entire system." Ella read it 3 times before believing it. Memorial Health ran 27 hospitals. This deal could change everything. Within hours their inbox exploded. Other networks wanted demos. Venture firms started calling. The following month they received their first acquisition offer. $30 million. Mia looked at Ella across the meeting room. "What do you think?" Ella smiled. "We're not done building." Instead of selling, they accepted a $30 million investment from Sierra Ventures, keeping control but gaining resources. The deal valued Medylink at over $100 million. When news broke, tech blogs tried to dig up Ella's background. She asked that only her first name be used. "You sure about this?" Mia asked one night. "You could be on magazine covers." Later, Ella replied, "I want to build, not explain." She wasn't ready for her family to suddenly claim her success. She wasn't hiding. She was protecting her peace. In industry circles she became known as the ghost founder, the visionary without a face. It only fueled curiosity. At 28, Ella bought a stylish condo with a lake view. But she kept her old car and wore simple clothes when visiting her parents. They believed she had roommates and a decent entry-level job. Still figuring things out, her uncle asked at Easter. "Something like that," Ella replied. Back at the office they were preparing for international expansion. Her assistant Kayla, one of the few who knew her family situation, handled declined invitations and awkward family calls with grace. Dr. Chin, her therapist, asked her once, "What are you waiting for, Ella? What would make it safe to tell them?" Ella thought for a long moment. When it's so big they can't rewrite the story. By then Medylink was used in over 200 facilities across the country. Studies showed it cut errors by 43% and boosted patient satisfaction by 38%. Still, Ella kept to the shadows. Every family dinner ended the same way, with her parents praising Thomas and politely ignoring Ella's career. When whispers of a $200 million acquisition deal started, she knew the day of silence wouldn't last. Horizon Health Technologies, the giant in medical software, was preparing to make their move. Mia came back from a meeting with a sly smile. "They're serious. $200 million kind of serious." Ella's stomach flipped. That number couldn't be ignored, even by her family. Then life threw in a twist Ella couldn't have scripted better. Her mother called one Sunday afternoon. Thomas and Claire have set a date. There's an engagement dinner next month at Blue Orchid, she announced. Ella raised an eyebrow. Blue Orchid was Chicago's newest Michelin-starred restaurant. Impossible to get into unless you had serious connections. I'll be there, Ella said, genuinely happy for Thomas despite everything. Wonderful, Linda replied, her voice quickly shifting to critique. Ella, it's a very upscale venue. You may want to consider a shopping trip. Your clothes are still very collegiate. Ella looked down at her silk blouse and tailored pants, an outfit that cost more than most rent. She held back a laugh. Don't worry, Mom. I'll dress appropriately. As they chatted, Linda casually added, Claire works in tech, I believe. Something about medical systems. Very impressive. Horizon something. Ella froze. Horizon Health Technologies, the very company negotiating to buy Medylink. Do you know Claire's last name? She asked, trying to sound calm. Winters. Claire Winters. After the call, Ella practically sprinted to her laptop. A quick LinkedIn search confirmed it. Claire Winters was Horizon's Director of Strategic Acquisitions. The woman her brother was marrying was leading the $200 million deal, and had no idea the founder she was acquiring was her future sister-in-law. Ella called Mia immediately. You are not going to believe this. What are the odds? Mia asked, stunned. Do you think she'll recognize you? She's never seen me, Ella replied. The negotiations were done through intermediaries. Still, the situation felt surreal. As the engagement dinner approached, pressure from Ella's family intensified. Linda called again to critique Ella's wardrobe. Richard left a voicemail urging her to talk about something impressive in front of Claire's parents. A few days later came the worst call of all. Claire's dad might know someone at Apple, Linda said. Jason mentioned you were between jobs, so they want to help. An entry-level IT position could be a good start. Ella stared at the wall, stunned. I'm not between jobs, she said, trying to keep her voice steady. I'm satisfied with where I am. Don't be proud, her mother replied. This is a real opportunity. We all have to start somewhere. After the call, Ella dialed Rachel, her childhood best friend and one of the few who knew the truth. They offered me a pity interview, Ella said, half laughing, while I'm closing a $200 million deal. Rachel was furious. They're treating you like a failure while you're becoming one of the most powerful people in health tech. The wildest part? Ella added. Claire, the woman marrying my brother, is the one trying to buy my company. Rachel didn't even pause. So what's the plan? Show up like a CEO and watch them all fall apart. Ella smiled but shook her head. No games. No performances. I'm just going to show up as myself. That's very mature, Rachel replied, impressed. 5 years of therapy, Ella joked. Besides, I'm done trying to prove anything. If they find out, they do. I'm not hiding, but I'm not staging a reveal either. The night before the dinner, Horizon sent the final offer. $215 million with conditions that would keep Ella and Mia on for 3 more years. The number still didn't feel real. As she laid out a sleek black dress, understated but elegant, she felt calm. For once, the dinner wasn't about proving anything. It was about showing up, fully, freely, and with nothing to apologize for. The Blue Orchid was as stunning as expected. Crystal chandeliers sparkled overhead, casting a warm glow over velvet chairs and polished silverware. Ella arrived right on time, neither early to be helpful nor late to make a statement. She wore her simple black dress, heels, and her usual calm demeanor. A hostess led her to a private dining room where her family had already gathered. Richard chatted with Claire's father near the bar. Linda was adjusting place cards, ensuring the important people were all seated together. Thomas spotted her first. Ella, you made it. He gave her a quick hug. Come meet Claire. Claire stood by the window, elegant in burgundy, her dark hair in a flawless updo. It's so nice to finally meet you, she said warmly. Thomas talks about you all the time. I'm happy for you both, Ella replied. Linda joined them quickly, eyeing Ella's outfit. Oh, you found something to wear. That's nice, she said with a practiced smile. We've seated you next to cousin Janet. You always got along with her. Translation. You're not at the important end of the table. Dinner began with toast. Richard raised his glass. To my son who's made us proud every day of his life, and to Claire who matches him in brilliance. The guests applauded. Ella simply sipped her champagne. As plates of lobster and risotto arrived, the conversation floated around Ella. Cousin Janet asked, "So what do you do again, dear?" "I'm in health technology," Ella replied calmly. "Database management." "Oh, that's nice," Janet said, clearly not understanding. Another uncle chimed in. "Thomas mentioned you might be heading to Apple. That would be a good move for you." Ella took a sip of water. "I'm actually very happy where I am." Across the table, Claire stared at Ella, her expression gradually shifting from polite curiosity to something more focused. Claire leaned in slightly. "Forgive me, but is your last name Simmons?" The table grew quiet. "Of course," Thomas said, confused. "She's my sister." Claire's eyes widened. "Wait, you're Ella Simmons? The founder of Medylink?" Thomas laughed awkwardly. "Claire, you must be mistaken. My sister works in tech support or something." "No," Claire said, her voice clearer. "Your sister is the CEO of the company my firm is currently acquiring for over $200 million. I've been reviewing her work for months." The silence was instant. Richard stopped mid-toast. Linda's eyes froze. Thomas's jaw dropped. "Is this true?" Richard asked, stunned. Ella looked at him directly. "Yes. Mia Carter and I founded Medylink 6 years ago. We now serve over 300 hospitals across the country." Claire, still processing, added, "Her system reduced errors at Boston General by 60%. It's revolutionized how patient records are shared. We've never seen anything like it." The shift in the room was tangible. The sister they had dismissed was suddenly the most interesting person at the table. "Why didn't you tell us?" Linda whispered. "Because you never asked," Ella said softly but firmly. From there, the night unfolded like something out of a movie. Relatives who'd barely spoken to Ella began asking for startup tips. Linda claimed she'd always believed in Ella's tech talent. Richard tried to recall a moment he'd predicted her success. Thomas remained mostly silent, still stunned. Claire pulled Ella aside afterward. "I had no idea you were Thomas's sister. Your reputation in our field is incredible. They call you the Ghost Founder. Brilliant, elusive, powerful." Ella gave a small smile. "That was the plan." Claire touched her arm gently. "You've built something amazing. Don't ever let anyone shrink it." By the next morning, Ella's phone buzzed nonstop. Her mother requested brunch at the Willow Club. Cousins sent text after text. "So proud. Knew you had it in you." Rachel called and just laughed. "You really let them stew in it, didn't you?" At brunch, Linda came prepared with talking points. "Why didn't you share more?" she asked. "We could have supported you." Ella replied calmly. "Every time I tried it was dismissed. I stopped trying because it hurt too much." Richard cleared his throat. "Maybe we pushed you because we saw your potential." "No," Ella said. "You pushed me because I didn't fit your mold. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary." They talked honestly, sometimes painfully, about the years of neglect and minimization. "We were wrong," Linda finally admitted. "I see that now." They made tentative plans for dinner the next week. Later that evening, Thomas showed up at Ella's place with a bottle of wine and an apology. "I was arrogant," he said. "And I never really asked what you were doing. I just assumed that I was failing," Ella finished. "Yeah," he admitted. "But now I know the truth and I'm really proud of you." For the first time, Ella saw the brother beneath the pride. And they talked. Really talked. The acquisition closed smoothly. The press finally printed both founders' names and their photos. Ella stepped into the light not just professionally but personally. Working with Claire strengthened their friendship. Her ability to bridge Ella's world and her family's made all the difference. Linda and Richard started asking real questions about Medylink. They even visited her office, nervous at first but clearly impressed. Slowly the roles began to shift. Ella wasn't the black sheep anymore. She was the one who had changed healthcare and built her future on her own terms. 6 months later, Ella's world felt balanced. Medylink was expanding internationally. Her family no longer spoke to her like she was broken. Monthly dinners with Thomas and Claire became a new tradition. Ella began mentoring young girls in STEM, helping them find confidence when the world didn't believe in them. One afternoon, a student said, "My parents want me to be a lawyer, but I want to build things that matter." Alice smiled. "Then build them," she said. "And trust that the right people will understand, eventually." Looking out at the city skyline from her office, Alice felt peace. She hadn't just built a company. She'd built herself. And no one could take that away. Moral lesson. True success isn't about proving others wrong. It's about believing in yourself when no one else does, and staying true to your vision until the world catches up.